If I asked you who had the best season in modern NBA history without winning the MVP award, who would you say? James Harden maybe? Michael Jordan? LeBron James? Steph Curry? Shaquille O'Neal? Maybe even Tim Duncan. If you said any of those names, then you, my friend, are dearly mistaken. In this season, this player averaged 35.4 points, 4.5 assists, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.8 steals. He played 80 regular season games, making an All-NBA first team, and dragged his team without a single All-Star to 45 wins. He scored 40 or more points in 27 separate games. He also scored 50 points on 6 separate occasions. He even got 60 twice. In case you haven't figured it out yet, I am referring to Kobe Bryant's 2005 to 2006 campaign. So I genuinely believe that this is the greatest individual scoring season in modern NBA history. If what I'm about to say doesn't convince you, then absolutely nothing will. During this season, Kobe averaged 35.4 points on 45% from the field and 35% from deep. That is the third highest scoring average in an NBA season since 1980, trailing only Michael Jordan and James Harden. What separates the Mamba from both of them is how much slower the pace of play during this particular season was. During the 2005 to 2006 season, the Los Angeles Lakers as a whole averaged 99.4 points per game. This average was significantly less than 112.4 and 104.8 points per game Houston and Chicago scored. If you did the math, you would realize that Kobe scored a jaw-dropping 35.6% of his team's points. That is by far the most in the past 40 years. But how does it compare to the greatest scoring season in NBA history? In the 1962 NBA season, Wilt Chamberlain infamously averaged 50 points per game. So what percentage of his team's total points did he average? 70%? 60%? 50%? Well, it may surprise some of you that he averaged 40.2% of his team's total points. In the 2000s, more than any era, the pace of play was at its slowest, which placed a ceiling on how many points per game a team could score. So now that we have established how much of his team's points he scored, how did his presence elevate the Lakers offensively? With Bryant on the floor, the Lakers saw an offensive rating of 109.3. Good for 6th in the entire NBA. Without him, that number plummets all the way down to, ready for it? 103.3. That's a difference of 6 points over the course of 100 possessions. But I'm not done. As I already alluded to in the introduction, high scoring nights were nothing new for the Mamba. I mean, he dropped 40 or more points in 27 games, but the highest of his high scoring performance was something of legend. On December 20th, 2005, in a regular season game against the Dallas Mavericks, he erupted, outscoring them 62 to 61 in just 3 quarters. Keep in mind, this wasn't a lottery-picking Mavericks team. This team made the finals that season. What's crazier is that this wasn't even his most impressive scoring performance of the season. On January 22nd, 2006, Bryant went off on a career night, scoring 81 points on the Toronto Raptors. As of March of 2024, that is the second highest scoring performance in NBA history. As legendary as his scoring was, Bryant's ability to lock his opponents down on defense shouldn't be overlooked. Despite carrying his team's burden on the offensive end, he still managed to produce defensively at the highest level. In Bryant's case, his 2.2 stocks don't turn any heads, but his incredible on-ball defense certainly did. There aren't many stats that I can pull up to explain his defensive prowess, but I will say this. When Bryant was on the floor, He possessed a defensive rating of 105.4. When he sat on the bench, Los Angeles' defensive rating dropped to 111.6. That is a difference of 6.2 points. Just going off defensive and offensive rating, Kobe was actually more impactful on defense than he was on offense. Now, I'm not going to go that far, but it certainly illustrates just how good the Mamba really was on both ends of the floor. This impact earned him an all-defensive first-team selection. So why didn't a season as lethal as Kobe Bryant in 2006 end up winning the MVP award? Not just that, why did he come in 4th place? Well, there's only one explanation. Throughout league history, voters have valued the best players on winning teams over the best individual players in a given season. That's evident as the only MVPs who weren't on top 3 seeds to win the award in the last 30 years were Westbrook in 2017 and Jokic in 2021. But if you ask me, I believe that there should be a shade of gray rather than a black and white conversation. How do you expect a team starting Smush Parker, Kwame Brown, and Luke Walton to make the playoffs, let alone the 3 seed? Moreover, that season, the Western Conference was as competitive as ever. If you remove divisions, the 7th seeded Lakers are only 2 games back of the 4th seed. When you consider that without Kobe, the Lakers would likely be the worst team in the league, it just makes the season look even better. I'm not saying that Kobe Bryant should have been the MVP of the season, I'm just saying that he has a better case than what he's been given credit for. Regardless, this is one of the best seasons we have ever seen from an individual player in NBA history. So what do you think about Kobe Bryant's 2005 to 2006 campaign? Was he overrated? Underrated maybe? Let me know in the comments down below and I'll see you in the next video.